the Jasiri Network LinkedIn live session. I'm Nancy Masila, founder of Jasiri Network, a community of African diaspora professionals. Today, we're doing things a little bit different and bringing you a live webinar in collaboration with Jobtech Alliance. We will be diving into how African talent can solve your business challenges. I'll let everyone introduce themselves, starting with Michelle, Jane, and then Papa. Michelle?
Great. Thanks, Nancy. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Hassan. I am based in Nairobi and a director for the Jobtech Alliance. Jobtech Alliance is an ecosystem initiative that supports digital platforms across Africa. So when you're thinking about gig matching platform to global business sources activities like what we're going to talk about today, we help them to create new jobs through two ways. One, either through ecosystem building and creating a community around job tech. And then secondly, through venture building support, where we work directly with these companies to be able to support. So today I also have like two of the companies that we've been able to help them through the program. Great.
Amazing.
Back to you. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be part of the conversation today. My name is Njoroge, technical project manager from Nairobi, Kenya, currently at Elewa. And Elewa is an IT agency that delivers software products for SMEs and startups. We've worked with businesses to improve processes, launch new services, and most of our clients are mostly based off Belgium, Netherlands, some in South Africa, and some in our home country, Kenya. Yeah, and I'll be happy to be sharing more as we continue.
Jane, where are you based out? I don't know if you've mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya, and so is Alewa as well.
Okay, awesome. Papa?
Awesome. My name is Papa Sencherey. I'm a growth lead at Tana. At Tana, we connect early technical talent in Kenya to global opportunities abroad. And excited to be here with all of you folks. Thank you, Jobtech Alliance, for creating the opportunity. Thank you, Nancy and the Jasiri Network. So excited to get into everything and more about Tana later on in the presentation.
Amazing, amazing. Welcome to the session, everyone. I'm looking forward to a great discussion. I've had quite discussions with Jobtech Alliance since last year, actually. But yeah, so this is where I'll let Michelle take us through the webinar and I'll be in the background. Michelle, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Nancy. So I will be sharing my screen for today's conversation. Cool. I think most likely, if everyone saw the title, they were kind of confused, or like, what is it exactly? We're talking about outsourcing, and what does it mean actually for Africa? So we thought that this, I think it's like call it like an info session to talk about why as JobTech Alliance we're excited about this, and what are the opportunities that we see. So today we kind of have like kind of key topics. The three big ones are like, why can you outsource to Africa? What does it look like in real life? And then also, as Jobtech Alliance, how can we help you? Uh, so starting off, like, why outsource to Africa? I think firstly, just kind of starting on like, what do we mean by outsourcing? I think it's a word we've seen a lot of times, and there's a whole movie called Outsourced. So kind of gives you an idea. But outsourcing is the business practice actually making sure that you're contracting task or service to external providers. So it can be in a different country, a different place. And the main goal is usually for either to reduce costs and also kind of improve efficiency. In Africa, there are a lot of what we call global business services that actually help in this. And these are providers that actually integrate and deliver business support, everything from centralized to regional hubs across the continent. So we wanted to have a conversation around it. Similarly, we've seen the sector itself actually growing, and more importantly, like the sector in Africa has grown. So one kind of like why it's interesting for Africa is kind of like four key things. One is the cost. We have seen the cost in Africa kind of highlighting that services and outcomes are really highly competitive. So thinking for something like if you're building an app, it's 2 times cheaper to build it here than in Europe, or hiring and augmented staff at 20% off as compared to the cost in the US. And also looking at, if you look at a CX, it's a fully loaded cost, it's kind of similar to India. So showcasing kind of like importance of Africa. Second, I think why we have like a strong value proposition is also like talent. We've seen Africa actually has a large addressable pool talent. So especially if you look at kind of like the three countries, Egypt, Kenya, South Africa, they account for more than 10 million people, which most of them up to 30% actually have a B2 English, which is needed a lot of these things. So showcasing opportunities there. And also there's a really high rate of university degrees. Thirdly, I think we talk about quality. Um, Global Buyers actually rank 6 African countries in the top 15 offshore delivery location. So if you think countries like Kenya, Rwanda, Egypt, and South Africa actually being part of it. And then finally, I think impact is a big thing. In addition to generating positive social impact for workers and families and communities, employers actually highlight and say there's a lower attrition rate because of sourcing for impacts of talent. So becoming easier to be able to support that and highlighting it. But when we think about what is actually outsourcing, many people associate outsourcing kind of like customer service or back office operations. But we wanted to showcase like how diverse it is. As you can see from these slides, like everything from customer app development to AI modeling to back office sales support to kind of like contract lifecycle management. All these are kind of like wide range of things to be able to highlight and what you can actually outsource. And this is one of the things we wanted to showcase that. Um, but also that can what we've seen is there are very kind of like 3 different models of seeing how they're engaging in terms of like the different GPS providers. So the first one we look at is what we call like kind of staff augmentation and remote hiring. So these are platforms which actually help you to find the right person to hire as a staff or contractor. So when you think about subsectors like technical augmentation or non-technical augmentation, this actually is kind of like sectors where we are. And this is where the payroll and payments are typically facilitated by the GBS provider. The second type of engagement is what we call the traditional outsourcing, or what people know as like kind of like normal BPO companies. These are GBS providers who can manage entire business functions with oversight and quality control. So if you think about customer experience as a service, back office roles like payroll, HR, finance, and kind of like ICT service is kind of like an example. And then the final one is what we call the knowledge processes outsourcing, or KPO in short. These are expert partners that offer either project-based or ongoing engagement with specialists. So when you think about it in terms of like subcategories, they include things like ICT outsourcing in terms of like very specific customer ICT development or like a website, or looking at industry specific KPOs, either focusing on a specific capability. For example, procurement as an example. So you can see like kind of like 3 different models that we have. Um, I want to kind of showcase like what does it actually look in practice. So I'll send it to Papa first to talk about like Tana as an example.
Yeah, thanks for passing it over. To Michelle's point around the different engagement models, I would say we fall in the staff augmentation and remote hiring bucket. Our mission is pretty simple. We want to connect some of the best talent in Kenya to global opportunities abroad. And so the way that kind of looks on our end is we're doing a lot of what we like to call the heavy lifting, because a lot of our clients who or a lot of our customers who initially want to or are thinking about hiring in Africa kind of run into the issues around how do you source and recruit talent? How do I interview them? How do I make sure they're a good fit? Do I have to train them? How do I deal with the compliance of payroll and local tax? And then how do I support them? And for us, we've kind of built a system on our end where we help them do all those things. So we're going to source and recruit the talent. We have a pretty deep talent base in Kenya because there's a ton of amazing folks. We do the interviewing, we do all the pre deployment training. So before they start with any customer, giving them the right skills to succeed. And then we handle all of the legal, payroll, tax, and local compliance. And then while they're in that seat, we make sure that they're set up to succeed by catching up with them regularly and spending time with them so that they can grow within their role. Next slide, Michelle, please. A lot of folks, and Michelle touched on this when she was going through her slides, kind of think about what are the main levers for wanting to hire in Kenya. The main big one, as Michelle mentioned, is cost. There's over 70% cost savings. It's one of the biggest draws for our customers initially, but as we like to say, it's one of the biggest draws, but it isn't really the reason that they stay. I think some of the reasons that they stay are on the right, where fluent English speakers, which is necessary for a lot of the roles that we place. Time zone advantages. We're the same time zone as Eastern Europe. It's easy to do a full day of work in North America. We're relatively not too far off from the United Kingdom. So it's pretty great from a time zone advantage perspective. And then the last one, which I think is a real competitive edge for African talent these days, which is the retention and productivity. Um, African talent, especially the ones that we've placed out of Kenya, have done really well in staying retained with our customers. One, from their own personal perspective, feeling very fulfilled in the role, and enjoying the opportunity, but also from the customer perspective, where they're doing a great job. They're realizing that there is really solid African talent, and it's not just something that is hypothetical, like, hey, you can hire in Africa and you'll find good talent. They're experiencing that today. And Michelle, if you go to the next slide. If you look at it you kind of take a step back and think about what we're specifically placing for, we like to put it in four buckets. We've decided to focus on technical talent across QA engineering, data analysis and engineering, DevOps and SREs, and technical support and consulting. And so this takes different flavors with different clients, but this is kind of how we go to market with them. And in the future, we'll maybe expand to different roles, but these are the ones that are gaining a ton of traction in the market. And there's a lot of really great technical talent coming out of Kenya. And then the last slide. To my point earlier, we're even seeing this flywheel effect where once we place um, our talent within these businesses, our partner companies actually start to expand. So 0% of our partner companies have ever hired from Africa before, and now within 6 months of our first engagement, 80% of them have come back to us to hire more folks from Kenya. And so, to my point around retention and productivity earlier, it's not something we're just saying. We're seeing it in the numbers, and these are pretty big clients: Harvard Business Publishing, um, Redwood, which is a massive private equity business, and these folks are kind of coming back to us continuously and saying, "This is some of the best talent we've ever worked with. They're super hungry, they're super motivated, they're super smart, and we'd like to hire more folks from Kenya." So yes, cost is amazing, but I would say just the strength of the talent has really driven retention and productivity for our customers. And with that,
Cool.
I'll pass it to Jane on Alewa.
Thanks, Papa. Okay, cool. So as I said before, Elewa is an IT agency, and I know for most people, if you think IT agency, there's a bias of thinking that it's just giving software products or just giving a platform where people can be able to just access just a software product that they can use. But at Elewa, we like calling ourselves solution bringers, or people who just bring a solution to you end to end. So you can come to us with purely an idea, and we'll build it from an idea to a plan, make that plan a product, and scale up your business with you. So we don't become just service providers, but also partners in your business. I'd like to give an example of one of our clients that we've used before. I think it's already highlighted here. The name is Spotlight. So Spotlight is a human resourcing platform. And just to give context of the problem that we were trying to solve for this particular client is that they came to us with, let's say, an issue, or rather a gap within the industry, where a typical example where you'd normally have 50 CVs, and you scan through all the CVs and you want to get just the perfect person who can present something, or the perfect person for a perfect role. And once you get the one person you want, the other 49 kind of just disappear. So this client issue was, there's so much talent, especially with, for example, senior profiles, that just gets lost after the scanning has gone through. And after that, we just don't know where the 49 CVs go. And you have to go again into the pool you had, and again look if everyone has they have been placed or not placed, or what's going on in their life, or what are the current things that they're supposed to do. So when I joined Spotlights, I think about 3 years ago, we were currently in version 2, and it had started I think a year before that. So what we did was sit with the client just to completely understand the wealth of knowledge they had, because this client particularly has been in the industry for, I think, 10 to 15 years now. And we just wanted to completely understand what's this hub of knowledge he has, and what do we bring as technical people to the table, or what can we provide as a solution for them with the problem that they had. So this is the part where we call from idea to plan. So we sit down with the client, we understand the knowledge they have, we understand what they want, what's the vision of their business, what they want to improve, what, like, the every nitty-gritties of the business. And then we come up with a solution. We call them initial proposals. So we sit with them and come up with sort of like a page by page description of how your product will look like. And these are discussions that go on for over a month, or a month depending on the size of the project. And we want to completely understand, even with wireframes and diagrams, just to get exactly what service you want to provide, what you want as an outcome from this product. After that, we then sit together after an agreement of the product blueprint, and we now make a product. And by making a product, what I mean is we attach a production team that specializes in what business you currently do. We have AI products that we do, we have IoT products we do, we have fintech, HR tech, as I spoke about. So we just decide who is the best fit for the specific products that you have. So if it's an AI consultant, if it's a backend engineer who will make your product just be at the top notch, be the best that it can be, that's what we attach to your team. And I mostly take the role of the end-to-end deliverables of that product, to make sure we give you an MVP. Now, when we're doing the MVP, we mostly commit to the what is it called, the blueprints that I just spoke about. And by committing to that, we gain trust from our clients. We promise very good quality, because if anything goes bad, if you've committed to a fixed scope and you do not deliver by the quality, or you are late on timelines, you normally get the hit as a business. So we kind of gain trust from our clients so that we can help them scale. And that's when we go into product to scale. So with that, what we mean is you could either get a simple help desk. Let's say you've already gotten your MVP. You can get a help desk, which means just one developer who is attached to you to make sure, like, any small issues you have, or if there's an issue or a bug that comes up from the product we've already built, this is something that they can maintain. But eventually, as a business goes on, you eventually want to get into scalability, or you want to answer to your users' needs, which means the needs grow and you want to get a product that's way bigger than just what you have. And now it just becomes way bigger than it was, than just an MVP. And that's when we have full-time dedicated professionals. That's an entire team that will have a PM, an engineer or two, depending on what you need, a specialist, depending on which field you're in. And that's how now we get or become partners in your continuous business. So ideally, if we were to categorize ourselves in model, one of the models that Michelle just spoke about, we would call ourselves the knowledge outsource. Yeah, we would fall under the knowledge outsourcing. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it. I'll be happy to take any questions after that. But back to you, Michelle. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Jane, for really elaborate explanation. As you can see already, like the wide range what Tana and Eleo are doing in terms of like opportunities for engagement. The other model we wanted to talk about is a company called Execo. They are not unfortunately here, but we can talk a little bit about it. They are helping using actually Jane AI and kind of like human powered solutions to be able to support. So especially in two things. One, either helping on how to be efficient in contracting services, so to ensure that you actually be able to support. And then secondly, to look at how like supercharged with AI, because as you know right now, like AI is a big thing. So what they've been doing is helping SDRs, combining like expert trained SDR with like kind of specialized AI to deliver high quality outreach and real results. An example I can actually showcase here is a case study that we've seen with Teladoc. So what happened is Teladoc had the procurement at Teladoc actually had faced significant bottlenecks because of inconsistent contract templates and a lack of visibility into historical data. So then it helped them or not help them actually help manage contracts effectively and make informed decisions. So what Execo did was then deploy a team of 10 professionals to actually help Teladoc in the various contracting management activities. So leveraging Gen AI tools, they were able to standardize contract templates and be able to provide easy access to kind of like relevant contract data. I think this combined approach of like technology and human experience then ensure the contract management tasks were handled efficiently and then accurately as well, facilitating kind of like smoother results and operations. What kind of like results with this Teladoc? Similar to what Jana said, how do you gain increase efficiency? Um, Teladoc then achieved substantial enhancement, especially in their data and contract response time. I think and also interestingly is like the improved visibility into the contract data helps kind of like better decision making and also operational efficiencies. So then this enable like Teladoc then to be able to efficiently work well and support that. So highlighting kind of like this. So yeah, faster response time, greater visibility, and then the procurement team was able to be freed up to focus on strategic priorities, for example. So as you can see, like these are kind of like three different examples we've highlighted in terms of companies that are in the sector to kind of highlight what are the opportunities that there are. So I guess the last thing we want to talk about then is like then how can we help you? How can either Jobtech Alliance, but also the team here can support you? But first, we wanted to talk about some of the misconceptions that are already in the sector. I'll kind of like tell you guys like what we are hearing and then what actually is the truth, right? So first one, this kind of thing we keep hearing a lot on. Like there's a quality difference between Africa outsources and other countries. And Papa has actually also mentioned this in his presentation. It's not, right? African talent actually outperforms many other countries and has been strongly ranked in international benchmark. If you think about Kenya, got the gold medal best contract center. Egypt and South Africa has also been in the top 5 most preferred CX offshore locations. And you've seen also from like what Jane and Papa have mentioned is highlighted. Second one, misconception. My business is too small or early stage to consider outsourcing. What is the fact? GBS actually providers can leverage at any scale of your journey. As even Jane has mentioned, even in the part of your MVP development, they're able to come in. By making use of outsourcers, then you can get access to valuable expertise and talent at flexible pricing and scope. So you don't have to actually hire full-time staff. You can actually outsource bits or pieces to it as you're continuing to build your business. Third misconception we keep hearing, is on, yeah, there's an unstable business climate in Africa. And I think we've had that a lot. What you should know. We've seen a lot of government incentives and projects that are driving support and development of business outsourcing locations. In Kenya, for example, they will have things like special economic zone so that we can be able to have better rates for people and everything. And this is actually aligned with a lot of governments that are making sure that there's a goal of increasing outsourcing to Africa. So highlighting and giving incentives to be able to support that. And then final thing that we keep hearing, that there's so many GPS providers. I don't know how to find and access the right one. And this is where we think we should support, and one of the key reasons why we have. As Jobtech Alliance, we can help you. We've been developing a directory that actually contains vetted overview of outsourcing partners that we can actually share, and it spans many services, capabilities, and models. So you can always reach out to us, and we're happy to support you in finding the right one. I'm not sure some of my team members are there. They'll probably put the chat on live on what we need to do. So how do you get started? I know we've talked a lot, and maybe this is a lot of information in one go, but kind of showcasing like what other opportunities are in GBS and what you can do as well. So there are 3 ways you can get started. Number one, let us help you identify your needs and the right partner. You can reach us to us at info@jobtechalliance.com. You can reach out to Jane and Papa as well on the chat and slides to be able to support you, to help you identify that. Because yeah, you can set up 30 minutes call with us to be able to talk about it. Hopefully Garvit is putting things on your live channel in the comments right now, but we also share with you the email address we can set up for meetings. Secondly, explore the directory to find areas of value for your business. So after the consultation, we'll reach out and showcase and share with you the directory. And it actually has a wide, vast range of business services and outcomes that can be outsourced. So you may not have an outsource need right now, but I'm sure as you start looking through the directory, you can be able to see what are some of the GPS providers that can actually unlock value for you. And then finally, looking at is, yeah, let's get you the ideal sourcing partner and get started. I think there's so much opportunity out there. I think once you find out an ideal partner, kicking off your engagement, you'll start seeing how extremely easy and streamlined they will be, and you can be live in no time at all. So highlighting kind of like 3 key steps that we actually want to showcase. I guess this is kind of like our short presentation today with Papa, Jane, and I. I want to take it back to Nancy for additional questions.
Yeah, no, thank you, Michelle, Jane, and Papa for that presentation. I think that was fantastic. I do have a couple of questions that have come in. So I'll just throw them and maybe one of you can answer. I think the first one is, what unique strengths does African talent bring to outsourcing that global businesses often overlook? That's a great question.
I feel like saying, Papa, you know that answer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The unique part of that is that folks overlook. I think there's a certain level of maybe appreciation that kind of plays into the retention element. When we talk to our customers, one of the things that they point out is a competitive advantage is other outsource locations, Eastern Europe, India, Philippines, that were maybe ahead of the curve in the outsourcing journey or pretty well known, now have a bit of a supply and demand mismatch, which drives retention rates down. So when folks end up working with these customers, there isn't maybe necessarily the same level of, frankly, appreciation for the role, because the mindset is the next incremental role is just around the corner. There's so much demand. So the attrition's affected, folks' jobs switch often, and some customers have even lamented about folks working multiple jobs at once, even though they thought they were just working for them. So I think for us, the markets, as Michelle mentioned, it's growing, but it's not as definitely not as mature as India, Eastern Europe, and Philippines. And in a weird way, that becomes a competitive advantage for us, because when folks end up landing these roles, they're squarely focused on that opportunity, which is really great for our clients. So if I was a global customer, unbiasedly speaking, and looking for talent, I'd want to go to Africa, because you're getting the same, if not better, intellectual talent, great cost savings, and then they're likely to stay with your business for the long term.
Wow, fantastic. I
Yeah.
have another question. How are African outsourcing providers using AI? Because AI has been kind of like the hot thing in town. So how are they using AI and emerging technologies to deliver competitive advantages for clients?
Okay, I think I can take that one.
Mhm.
I think now it's almost everywhere, right? And there's always the risk of people falling into just using AI to help it think or build or reason for every aspect of the business. But I think for how we're using it to outsource or to improve processes is that we're cutting down on normally what would take so much longer to help deliverables be delivered faster, which means at a lower cost. Because now you can, if you want to design some things, you can be able to design them pretty fast and deliver that, which is things that would typically take longer. But now you reduce that cost on the client, and you also save up on time in the company, and people can focus on things that are more important. For example, even building their own AI models internally or AI solutions internally.
Okay. Well, I have another question for you, Jane. I think you mentioned you're part of like Elewa. I don't know what that Elewa has a meaning. I could sense maybe it's a Swahili word, maybe not. I don't know. Would like to explain a little bit what Elewa means?
Yes, Elewa is Swahili name for understanding. So actually, Elewa it started off as like an educational training company. So it's very focused on training, was focused on training and sharing knowledge with the Kenyan population or people in Kenya. But we eventually pivoted into an IT agency.
Yeah, you are like we have an abundance of talent.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen how smart Kenyan youths are and how much value they can add to the company?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
undebatable.
Another question. So it's can you share examples of how small or early stage companies have successfully scaled by outsourcing to Africa? I don't know, Michelle, if that's something you'll pick up, because I think you sort of started mentioning, outsourcing can kind of meet you at your needs where you're at. So really great question there. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I think I can also give an example of what Jane actually mentioned about
Mhm.
starting a company from an MVP to a full-time project. But some of the companies we've worked with have started really small, of like, for example, saying, I want to outsource my HR department because I don't want to focus around on it, right? So start with the HR department, then you're like, oh, wait, I need to add in procurement. Then operations in place. So as you continue to grow, you start looking at what are the things that you want to have in-house versus outsourcing. And then as you continue, then becomes easier. But also like project-based, we've seen, especially a lot of like IT departments, like growing from like small to big engineering departments, because yeah, you can outsource most of the things, then you just only need like a CTO as compared to a full tech team. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I guess Papa and Jane have seen, because they work directly with the clients. Have you seen some of examples of how we've helped grow?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some of the clients we've had before are very, very, like I said, wealthy with knowledge in specific industries. But that's with no offense to them if they listen, but that's about where it ends. So the technical bit of it needs to be outsourced to people who are professionals in that industry. So there are people who've worked in, let's say, corporates for very many years, even up to 30 years, some of them, and just have a lot of knowledge that they can share, which we may lack, but we have the capability to build platforms that would help them start a business from 0 to 1. I have a few examples of companies we've actually helped come from just an idea to being now like the scale ups, or what I'm talking about, like scaling up a business, because that's the kind of solutions we bring to them. We bring to you not just a product that you can use or people can use, but we help you bring to you a business that can actually help or support the knowledge you already have and the networks you already have in that field you're in.
Any additions, Papa?
No, I don't. I don't want to be redundant. I guess the last thing I'll say is, for us on the early stage and mid stage side, every incremental team member when you're at that stage is very important. And so for us, the way we kind of have those conversations is, it's a cost conversation. You're going to have just as smart, just as talented of an engineer or someone who's technical on your team for a fraction of the cost. And I always, when we talk to customers, I always say to them, it's, I don't even know why I'm having this conversation. It's a no brainer. I'm giving you exactly what you need at maybe half off. So yeah, I won't be redundant. It's valuable.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have two more questions. So the question is around talent pipeline. And the question is, with Africa's young and growing workforce, what industries or functions do you see as the next big frontiers for outsourcing from the continent? Oh, that's a great question, especially the
I
other day
know.
Kenyans were ranking like top one on ChatGPT usage. But yeah, like, what are you guys seeing? What industries or function do you see as the next like big frontiers for outsourcing from the continent? Who wants to
That's
go?
a fantastic. Yeah, I'll try to take a pass at it, and then the rest can. But like that's a really fantastic question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think initially we thought it was going to be a lot of like data annotation work
Mhm.
that's going to come to Africa, and then AI happened.
Mhm.
So it's no longer, even though at least I think, granted, Africa Youth helps a lot in like training these AI models. Um, I do think AI will be big in the sector because as more and more companies come in with their different models, they need to train it. They need people to actually help train. So I
Yeah.
feel that there's still the kind of like opportunities to be able to see that. Um, and then secondly, I think the kind of like fractional CXO type of things will be the
Mm.
next big thing. Like if I'm able to outsource my tech to Africa at half quarter the cost, why should I not? And especially given that European markets, like the labor market, like is decreasing, right? Age, people are not getting enough babies, like they're no longer people to actually get in. There's an
Yeah, Africa is
opportunity.
the youngest continent at the moment.
Yeah, I think like in like 2050 there'll be like more Africans than anything else. So we need to actually figure out like how can we play in the global market, and this kind of
Yeah.
like why I see GBI as opportunities. um you can outsource your work to Africa without necessarily having to bring people in and having to solve these issues on migration and everything. Like, yeah, just hire an organization to be able to actually help you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane, Papa, what are the industries you guys are seeing? Like, yeah, this is the next frontier.
For me, I think also because this has been an internal discussion at Elewa,
Mm-hmm.
I think product developers. Reason
Mm.
being, with AI coming in, there will be a lot of, unfortunately, roles that might become unnecessary in the industry. But with product developers, with people who have a mind of thinking through a problem and coming up with a solution, because now the solutions can be built by the AI, those will be the critical people, especially in an IT industry, the
Yeah.
people who can be the bridge in between the two. So, and yeah, I just think that's going to be the next big thing.
They're the
But
most,
yeah.
they're the most paid on the continent at this point. Like even CEOs and founders that they're like shelving a lot of money every month, and it's like people are just poaching. So
Yeah.
I hope there's going to be enough talent coming out of the universities to fill in that. Because we're also seeing a lot of people hiring externally. So people being hired and moved, like being relocated. So yeah, great points. Papa, I was hoping somebody would say something in the creative industry.
Oh no. So I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna lead into the AI angle
Oh
as well.
no,
Yeah,
again.
I know, but specifically from the perspective of when HubSpot initially came out in the CRM space, you saw there was a boom of HubSpot, consultancies and agencies coming out of these outsource locations to help support enterprises and getting the most out of HubSpot. I think in the world of AI, you're seeing a lot of all-in-one solutions pop up in different verticals that when we talk to our customers, they're trying to figure out how to use, trying to figure out how to leverage, but they have so many competing interests. I'll give you an example. There's this on the GTM side, one of the biggest tools is a tool called Clay. And it's like not that hard. It's complicated to learn, not that hard to use, but a lot of agencies want to use it, or a lot of folks want to use it. Enterprises want to use it, but they don't have the support or time. So I think there's a lot of room for as these AI tools pop up in different verticals. There's a lot of room for outsourced talent to quickly learn how to use this and then offer it as kind of a service to. And we're going to see more of that. For Clay, they're called Claygencies, and so you're going to see more Claygencies popping up. You're going to see more things popping up around different products. So kind of like ecosystems around these AI products is where I see there's going to be a ton of growth in these outsourced markets.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I still have a bit of hope for the creatives. I mean, Africa exports some of the best talent out there, and they do so through like the creative ecosystem, the creative industry. I mean, look at the Nigeria, West Africa with the music, the fashion, and the food as well. And even from West Africa, East Africa, and also Southern Africa. So I was really, really hoping and crossing my fingers for creatives, but it's okay.
No,
We try again next time.
creatives will be in the normal job sector, but in
Mm,
GBS world, it's difficult. I think, yeah, if you're looking at overall labor market, yeah,
mhm.
definitely
Okay.
creatives will be like top three. In
Thank you
terms of
for
like,
saving the day, Michelle. I think that's it. Unless there's a question that each any of you would want to take that we haven't discussed so far. None? Okay. Yeah, I mean
none.
it's been great. I did want to ask Michelle. I know Jobtech Alliance did have a summit earlier on in the year. I don't know whether you wanted to talk a little bit about that. If there's any upcoming events as well, either in person or virtual. That also goes for you, Papa and Jane as well.
Oh, cool. Nothing planned yet. I think there's supposed to be like an event in October in Nairobi, but
Mm-hmm.
like just a small meetup for the guys. But I'll encourage people, like if you want to learn more about Jobtech Alliance, to sign up to our newsletter. Just go to our website at jobtechalliance.com, become a community member. You'll learn a lot about the things we're learning as we continue to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Including a lot of like the GBS work we've done, will be like interesting to see. Yeah.
Amazing. Jane?
I don't have anything to add.
Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah.
But it's
You can
fine.
invite us for end of year party.
Unless I invite you guys to my house, but
Mm,
okay, I need to talk to my bosses and see. But
yeah.
anyway, if you guys feel like you do want to find any more information about Elewa, we do have a website on elewa.co.ke. So yeah, please feel free to go on there and you can chat us from there. You'll find most of us there.
Perfect.
So
Papa, last but not least.
Yeah, no event off the top of my head right now, but we'll keep you guys posted. And thank you for inviting us to this.
Amazing.
You
And
can follow them on LinkedIn. I don't know why
yeah.
Papa.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean you
Yes.
can follow them on I mean you can follow everybody on the session today on LinkedIn. You can follow their companies as well. We'll try and sort of like just comment a few times on LinkedIn as well. Follow Jasiri Network, follow myself. We have an upcoming event in October. We're going to be more discussing about investment. It's a live event. It's going to be in London on the 4th of October, and then after that we'll come to Nairobi for a summit. Oh, before I forget, before Nairobi will be in Uganda, which I'm really, really excited about. I've never been to Uganda, which is a shame. I can't believe it.
It's
I'm
such a fun
saying that.
country. It's a
Yeah.
really fun country.
Yeah, so if there's anyone who wants to come with me to Kampala or Nairobi, let me know. And yeah, thank you everyone for the session. Thank you to our amazing panelists, if I may call them that. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.